Joined now by the company's founder and CEO, Jensen Huang. Brad Gerstner is, of course, still with us as well, and I can't tell you how happy we are to have you. Thank you.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Welcome to Santa Clara. This is our backyard. I'm a mile up the road.
Yeah, I was going to say, you couldn't actually walk over here, but you're here, and you said you've never been here before.
Well, I've been not like this. Not like this. Look at all these tents. It's incredible. It's going to be a festival.
So it's an interesting time to have you, obviously, which any time is, but especially given what's been happening within the market. Today looks a lot different than the last couple of days have. The market obviously concerned with what's happening on the spending side of the hyperscalers and this big build out in AI. What's your take from that, the way the market continues to react to this?
Demand is sky high, and there's a fundamental reason for that. We're in the once in a generation infrastructure build out. This is the largest infrastructure build out in human history, and there's a fundamental reason for that. Artificial intelligence is going to fundamentally change how we compute everything. Everything from database processing, the way we do search, the way we do recommender systems, the way you shop, the way you watch movies, and of course, these new agentic systems that are being developed and evolved. This last year, we saw an inflection point in AI. AI became super useful. No longer hallucinating, it's generating informed content, it's reasoning, it's thinking, it's doing research, it's able to use tools. All of a sudden, AI over the last couple of years went from being curious to super useful. The inflection point also came with it, profitable tokens. Anthropic is making great money. OpenAI is making great money. If they could have twice as much compute, the revenues would go up 4 times as much. I mean, literally these guys are so compute constrained, and the demand is so incredibly great. The number of enterprise users, the number of consumer users, the number of startups that are being built on top of these companies, it's just going through the roof.
So when you see numbers that are frankly remarkable, that $660 billion this year will be spent by the hyperscalers as we continue to learn, like we did from Amazon last night, you sit back and think to yourself, that's completely justified based on what you see?
It is appropriate and sustainable. And the reason for that is because all of these companies' cash flows are going to start rising. You know, people are comparing it to cash flows. One of those numbers are wrong. It's just the cash flow is wrong. We are addressing the largest software opportunity in history. For the very first time, software is not just a tool. A tool is like Excel. Now software uses tools. So these AIs use Excel. And so I think the opportunity for this new era of software is incredible, and we're seeing it already moving the earnings of Meta. Nobody uses AI better than Meta, and so if you look at the way that they're using AI went from a classical recommender system running on CPUs to now a generative AI agentic system that is making recommendations. Everything from the way social media works and the way they recommend ads and help advertisers create content has fundamentally been changed, and their earnings show it. And that's the reason why they're investing so hard. They see just a much larger future potential for it. And not just one company. This is going to affect AWS's shopping and the way they recommend goods. This is going to affect how Microsoft's enterprise software works. Every single company sees the same inflection point, and that's why everybody's leaning in so hard.
I feel like that's the point that it's an interesting point. It sort of turns the way you need to think about these businesses on its head. That if you're just fixated on the spending side, as you were talking earlier about, they're spending such a huge portion of their free cash flow, you're kind of missing the story. The market needs to get its arms around that. Do you as well as an investor?
Yes. If you turn the clock back, Scott, to 2008, 2009, right, Amazon could have taken their profits and sent them back to us by way of dividends. Instead, Jeff Bezos said, I'm going to invest in this thing called AWS. Think of it as digging a gold mine. You have to spend a lot of money to dig the gold mine before you get the gold out. These guys are digging the biggest gold mine in the history of software, right? But it costs something up front. Now the question is, do you believe Andy Jassy and Mark Zuckerberg and Sundar and Jensen that this opportunity is that big, or do you have a special insight that causes you to understand there's no gold in the bottom of the gold mine? As an investor, I'll just tell you this. I want my personal net worth, I want my fund's net worth levered against AI because all human progress is going to be derived from machines helping humans think and augment human thinking. And so whether it's owning NVIDIA, which is our largest public position, or whether it's Anthropic or OpenAI, all of these companies are going to be tremendous beneficiaries, and they're doing it at scale. There are increasing advantages to scale, right? And so I think it's hard for people to get their arms around now, just like it was in 2008 and 2009. But thank God Jeff Bezos did that. Now it's a $140 billion business generating $30 billion a year in annual profits that people criticized him for investing in back then.
It's incredible that OpenAI and Anthropic are $20 billion run rate companies, generating profitable revenues and accelerating growth all at the same time.
Right.
These are extraordinary things, and it makes perfect sense from where we sit.
How can we be so certain that the amount of compute we think we'll need and that we continue to hear from CEOs like you that we will need is actually going to come to fruition? Isn't it inevitable that we're going to, at some point, overdo it, but we're not going to know that until it's too late?
It's not like roads. Roads, once you lay it down, it stays fairly useful for a long time. The way computers work is you build up the infrastructure, but then you start replacing it 5, 6, 7 years later. And so I think it's going to take us some 7 years, 8 years to build up to the level that we have to sustain. And after that, we're going to be refreshing and slightly growing. And so we've got several years of build out ahead of us. The important thing is this. You have to go back to first principles. Computing has fundamentally changed. It used to be pre-recorded. Excel and PowerPoint and all these tools and all this software is pre-compiled. They compiled it and they send it to us. The way software works now, because it's contextually aware, every single time you use it, it takes into consideration the context, who you are, what you're asking about, what's happening to the world, what other information you give it, the context. And every single context is different and every single response is different. So from now on, every single pixel, every single beep of a sound, every video that comes out of the computer is generated in real time. And that's the reason why we need computers to operate software at such a large scale going forward. And all these tokens are what we call intelligence. And for the first time, we're generating something of tremendous value, intelligence as numbers. And these things, as I mentioned earlier, this last year, we went through an inflection point because these tokens became profitable. And so we just have to make more of it.
Can you blame, in some ways, investors who have PTSD from the last time tech went through this revolution and evolution at the same time for seeing certain things that remind them of then and worry that they'll happen again?
It's good to always reflect on history. History informs us, but history doesn't repeat. And so you have to take into consideration what's actually happening. Always go back to first principles and think about what is actually happening. Right now, the fundamental difference, a huge difference between now and some things that happened in the past with the internet, there was a ton of dark fiber. There are no dark GPUs. 100% of the GPUs are rented. In fact, GPUs that we sold 6 years ago, the prices are going up. It's not like it's antique. I mean, it's incredible. It's like a fine wine. The demand is so high that GPUs I sold 6 years ago are going up in price. And so I think the demand is just incredibly high for the reasons that I just said. One, we went through an inflection point. AI has become useful and very, very capable. Two, the adoption of it is incredibly high. And three, because these AIs are thinking, the amount of computation it needs is great. And so to the extent that people continue to pay for the AI and the AI companies are able to generate a profit from that, they're going to keep on doubling.
You get asked about the bubble question all the time, but to Jensen's point, back then, you're wrapping fiber around the earth 5 times and you realize, well, that was a little too much. Yeah. How are you thinking about that question relative to how he answered it?
It turns out that fiber had 7% utilization. We called it dark fiber because we knew when they were putting it in the ground, it was dark. We're building for the future. And we were borrowing money to do that. And we only had 30 million people connected to broadband internet. Today, we have billions of people who are using this, getting benefit daily. But one of the things I would say, Scott, is one of the questions here, Jensen, is, okay, if you accept that all of this needs to be built, there's a lot of chatter. Andy Jassy said last night on the Amazon call, yeah, but we have an inference chip that's 40%, costs 40% less. There's a lot of talk about all these other chips. So how are you confident that NVIDIA is going to continue to maintain your share, right, the leadership position in terms of all of this build out as you look forward?
Nobody develops the technology more advanced than ours at a pace higher than ours and at a scale as large as ours. We have the largest supply chain of any computing company in history. We have a giant supply chain. And so our technology is the best. Now that translates to the lowest cost tokens, because when your performance is 10 times, your cost is 30% higher, right, then your token cost is maybe 1/5. And so that advantage is the reason why people adopt our technology. Our demand, NVIDIA's demand in AWS is incredibly high. And so we're just super excited about the build out that we're doing with them. We're gonna have a very significant build out this year and the next couple of years. AWS is doing great. They're a great partner of ours. Consumption of NVIDIA through AWS is gigantic.
Brad raises a really interesting question. As these relationships are so unique in that these companies that are spending all of this money, they are customers of yours and they're competitors of yours. And they continue to make it clear that they want to be bigger competitors of yours. Andy Jassy and Brad was alluding to what he said on the call, quote, customers are starving for better price performance, and typically and understandably, the dominant early leaders aren't in a hurry to make that happen. They have other priorities. I mean, Alphabet's making its own chips too. These companies love you, they need you, but they're coming after you too.
It's okay. None of that bothers me. We're the only company in the world that takes our roadmap and all of our secrets, and we share it to our customers who are also building their own chips internally. That's how much confidence we have. The reason for that is because NVIDIA is the only platform, and software likes platforms. Software are built on platforms. If it's built on NVIDIA, it runs best on NVIDIA. There are tens of thousands of startups around the world, developers all over the world who build on NVIDIA, and so by definition, it runs best on NVIDIA. We're the only architecture that's in every cloud. We're in AWS, we're in Azure, we're in OCI, we're in GCP, we're everywhere. We're exposed to AI that is well beyond just the things that we're talking about here. Look at the stuff that we're doing in digital biology and life sciences, our big partnership with Lilly. They're building an AI supercomputer. The physical AI, we're the only company really addressing all of the world's autonomous vehicles and all the robotic systems and all the physical sciences. The world of AI goes well beyond language. It represents, probably 60% of the world's AI activity. The rest of the other 40%, that's practically all NVIDIA. And so our exposure to AI is broad. We're on every single platform. We're in the cloud, we're on the ground, we're in autonomous vehicles. I mean, we're just simply everywhere. And the key is we have so many developers. When it's built on NVIDIA, it runs best on NVIDIA.
Who do you consider to be your biggest competitor?
Well, the thing that we worry about most is just making sure that AI is effective. It has to work. The technology has great promise, some enormous breakthroughs. ChatGPT was a breakthrough. OpenAI's 0.1 was a breakthrough this last year. Just recently, Claude Code is an inflection. And then now ChatGPT 5.3 Codex, another inflection. We want to make sure that AI continues to be incredibly effective. We want to make sure that protein AIs, chemical AIs, physical AIs, robotics AIs, self-driving car AIs, open model AIs, all of these different AI industries have to flourish because the world is gigantic. Remember, AI is not a technology only. It's a 5-layer cake. It's energy, it's chips, it's infrastructure, it's models, and ultimately it's applications. We need to make sure that all of the world's applications are revolutionized because of AI. When that happens, the demand will continue to grow and we would be successful in helping the world reinvent computing for the first time. And so our focus, you see my focus, all the investments that we make, all the partnership that we make, it goes across all 5 layers of the cake. It goes across all of the different domains of applications because it's gonna take the whole planet to change the computing infrastructure for the world.
Okay, speaking of that, the whole planet, Are the Chinese competitors? They're customers. They want to be customers. You'd like them to be bigger customers than they are now. Aren't they competitors of ours?
No doubt. I think the way to think about that is that we got competitors. The United States has competitors all over the world. And if you break down AI and think about AI as a 5-layer cake, the U.S. has to win at every single layer. We have to win at the energy layer. This is an area that, quite frankly, we've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to have to work hard to make sure that we win the energy layer. The chip layer, we have to make sure that every software company in the world uses American tech stacks so that our chips are the best in the world. We have to win at the model layer. We have to win at the application layer, so on and so forth. Every single layer has a battle, and nobody can take it for granted. Every one of the layers has to go win on their own. We want to win together, but every layer has to go win.
Do you worry about, Brad, another DeepSeek moment that the Chinese, to Jensen's point, they're not sitting back idle and suggesting, okay, US, you win. We're playing now for second place. They're playing to win.
No, for sure. And in fact, I hear disturbing things all the time about the Chinese stack making great inroads in the Middle East and